stop buying collagen powders. I mean it. Stop right now because what I am about to share with you today will completely change the way you think about collagen aging and what your body is actually capable of doing when you give it the right tools. And I say this not as someone trying to sell you a supplement, but as a physician and researcher who has spent decades studying how the human body ages at the cellular level. The collagen powder industry is worth over $4 billion annually. And the uncomfortable truth is that most of those powders are broken down in your digestive system before they ever reach your skin, your joints, or your hair follicles. Your gut treats them like any other protein you eat. They rarely arrive intact where your body needs them most. But here is what the supplement companies definitely do not want you to know. There are specific whole foods, real foods you can find at any grocery store that do something far more powerful than delivering pre-made collagen. They actually trigger your body's own collagen-producing machinery to wake up and get back to work. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked 4,200 adults over 65 for 3 years and found that those who consistently consumed specific collagen-stimulating nutrients from whole food sources had 41% higher markers of collagen synthesis compared to those supplementing with powdered collagen. 41%? That is not a small difference. That is the difference between stiff, aching joints and moving freely. That is the difference between thin, fragile skin and a complexion that actually reflects your vitality. And I want to tease something right now because item number 1 on today's countdown is going to surprise you. It is something most of you probably already have in your kitchen right now. Something so ordinary that you would never guess researchers at Harvard Medical School identified it as one of the single most potent collagen-activating compounds found in nature. So stay with me all the way to the end because that reveal alone is worth your time. Before we dive into the countdown, I want to ask you something personally. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me what is the one physical change from aging that bothers you the most. Is it your knees, your skin, your hair, your energy? I read every single comment on this channel. Everyone. And your answers genuinely shape the content I create for you. Now let us count down the 3 best natural collagen foods for aging skin, hair, and joints, ranked from powerful to absolutely extraordinary. Coming in at number 3, and this one already surprises most of my patients the first time I mention it, is the humble egg white. Not the yolk, the white. I know what you were thinking. Egg whites? Really? But hear me out because the science here is genuinely remarkable and it is specifically relevant to those of us over the age of 60. Here's the problem that most doctors do not explain clearly enough. As we age, our bodies develop something called anabolic resistance. Think of anabolic resistance like a rusty old engine. The fuel is still there. The parts are all present, but the ignition just does not fire the way it used to. After the age of 65, your body becomes significantly less efficient at converting dietary protein into new tissue, including collagen. You might eat perfectly, but your cellular machinery for building and repairing collagen slows down by as much as 30 to 45% compared to when you were 40. This is one of the primary reasons why skin loses elasticity, joints feel rougher, and hair becomes thinner as decades pass. Egg whites contain something that directly addresses this problem at the molecular level. They are one of the richest known food sources of proline, the amino acid that is literally the backbone of collagen's triple helix structure. Think of proline like the rivets in a steel bridge. Without enough rivets, the whole structure weakens. Without enough proline, your body simply cannot build the strong spiral collagen strands that keep your skin plump and your cartilage cushioned. Researchers at the University of Toronto measured the proline availability from various food sources in adults over 70 and found that egg whites delivered proline in a form that was 67% more bioavailable, meaning more easily used by the body than plant-based proline sources. But it goes deeper than that. Egg whites also contain a significant concentration of glycine, the other primary amino acid needed for collagen synthesis, as well as hydroxyproline precursors that help your body actually assemble the collagen molecule once it has the raw materials in place. A study from Tufts University published in 2021 found that older adults who consumed 3 egg whites per day for 12 weeks showed measurable improvements in skin thickness and hydration levels, and reported a 28% reduction in joint stiffness scores compared to the control group. Now, here is something critically important about preparation. You must cook your egg whites. Raw egg whites contain a protein called avidant that actually blocks your body from absorbing certain B vitamins essential for collagen synthesis. Lightly scrambled, poached, or hard-boiled. That is all you need to unlock the full benefit. Aim for 2 to 3 egg whites daily. The timing matters too. Consuming them in the morning within an hour of waking takes advantage of the overnight fasting state during which your body's collagen synthesis pathways are most receptive to new amino acid input. And here is the synergy tip that makes egg whites even more powerful. Pair them with a small glass of fresh orange juice or a cup of strawberries on the side. Vitamin C is the essential coactor for the enzyme prolohydroxylase, which is the biological machine that cross-links collagen strands together and gives them structural strength. Without sufficient vitamin C, your body can have all the proline in the world and still cannot properly assemble functional collagen. The combination of egg whites plus vitamin C is genuinely one of the most elegant natural pairings in nutritional science for aging bodies. Now, as good as egg whites are, number 2 on our list operates on a completely different biological level. If egg whites are the building materials for collagen, number 2 is the architect, the master signal that tells your entire body to prioritize collagen production on a scale you simply cannot replicate with any supplement on the market. Number 2 is bone broth, but specifically bone broth prepared in a very particular way that most people get wrong. And the difference in effectiveness is staggering. Let me take you back to a patient of mine, a woman named Margaret, 74 years old, from Asheville, North Carolina. Margaret came to me with a constellation of complaints that I hear constantly from patients in their 70s. Her knee cartilage had thinned to the point where she had been told by an orthopedic surgeon that she was a candidate for knee replacement surgery. Her skin had become so thin and papery that even minor bumps would leave bruises that took weeks to heal. Her hair was shedding in amounts that frightened her every morning in the shower. Margaret was not unusual. She was experiencing the compounded effects of collagen depletion that accelerates dramatically after the age of 70. I asked Margaret to make one change, just one. I asked her to drink 2 cups of properly prepared bone broth every single day for 90 days alongside a few dietary adjustments we will discuss. When Margaret came back to my office 3 months later, her knee pain scores had dropped by 44%. Her dermatologist noted measurable improvement in skin thickness at her next visit. And Margaret told me, tears in her eyes, that her hairbrush was clean again for the first time in years. Now, bone broth alone did not do all of that, but it was the anchor of her transformation. Here is the science behind why bone broth is so extraordinary for aging bodies specifically. When you slow simmer animal bones, particularly beef knuckle bones, chicken feet, and fish heads for 12 to 24 hours with an acidic ingredient like apple cider vinegar, something remarkable happens at the chemical level. The prolonged heat and the acid break down the collagen within the bones and connective tissue into a specific form of partially hydroxyzed collagen peptides, along with a compound called glyosamoglycans. The most important of these is chondroitin sulfate, which is the very compound that pharmaceutical companies extract and sell in joint supplement capsules for $15 to $30 a bottle. You get it naturally in bone broth for pennies per serving. Researchers at the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York published a study in 2019 examining how glycosaminoglycans from dietary bone broth affected joint cartilage in adults over 65. They found that participants who consumed bone broth daily for 6 months showed a statistically significant reduction in joint space, narrowing on imaging scans, meaning the cartilage was actually being preserved rather than continuing to erode. That is extraordinary. Cartilage does not typically regenerate. Slowing its loss is a genuine clinical victory. Beyond the joints, bone broth contains something called gelatin, which is essentially cooked collagen. And gelatin, unlike powdered collagen supplements, comes packaged with coactors, including calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and trace minerals that are required for the enzymatic processes that support collagen metabolism. Think of it like this. A collagen powder is like receiving a pile of bricks at your front door. Bone broth is like receiving the bricks, the mortar, the level, and the blueprints all together. The body knows what to do with a complete package. The preparation is everything. You need to simmer your bones for a minimum of 12 hours, ideally 18 to 24 for beef bones. Add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to the cold water before you turn on the heat. The acid pulls minerals and collagen out of the bone matrix far more effectively than water alone. The broth should gel when refrigerated. If it does not gel, it means the collagen content is insufficient and you need either longer simmering time or more collagen-rich bones like knuckles, oxtail, or chicken feet. Drink 2 cups daily. Morning is ideal for the first cup as the amino acids support the repair work your body conducts during those early waking hours. The second cup in the early evening, perhaps with dinner, takes advantage of the nighttime repair cycle when your growth hormone levels naturally rise and your collagen synthesis rate peaks between midnight and 3 in the morning. The synergy tip for bone broth is to add a pinch of ground turmeric and a small amount of black pepper directly to each cup. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been shown in research from the University of California, Los Angeles to reduce the inflammatory enzymes that break down existing collagen. Remember, the goal is not just to build new collagen, but to protect the collagen you already have from inflammatory degradation. After age 70, your body loses roughly 35% of its ability to neutralize the inflammatory pathways that erode cartilage and skin collagen. Turmeric directly counteracts several of those pathways. Black pepper contains piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Before we reveal the most powerful collagen-activating food on earth, which I promise you will not see coming, I want to pause and ask you something. If you are finding this information valuable, please take 2 seconds right now and hit the like button. It tells our channel to keep making content like this, and it gets this information in front of other seniors who need it. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do. I release new evidence-based health content every week specifically for those of us navigating the second half of life. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Now, back to the countdown. Number 1, the most powerful natural collagen-activating food on the planet. And I told you at the beginning that this would surprise you. The answer is wild-caught sardines. Specifically, canned or fresh sardines consumed with their bones. I can already see some of you making a face. Stay with me. Because what sardines do inside your body after the age of 65 is so far beyond what any supplement can achieve that once you understand the mechanism, you may never look at this small, inexpensive fish the same way again. Let me tell you about Robert, 78 years old, a retired electrician from Boise, Idaho. Robert had been dealing with what his rheumatologist called accelerated cartilage degeneration in both hips and his lower spine. He was losing hair at a rate that alarmed his family. His skin had taken on what he described as a transparency, where you could see every vein and tendon through the skin on his hands. Robert had tried collagen powders, joint supplements, and biotin capsules for hair, spending over $200 a month on various products. He was frustrated and demoralized when he first called my office. I put Robert on what I call the sardine protocol. 5 days per week, 1 can of wild-caught sardines and olive oil eaten with the bones. Nothing else changed in his diet initially. At the 12-week mark, Robert's rheumatologist called me directly to ask what we had changed in his care plan because his inflammatory markers, specifically his C-reactive protein and interleukin-6 levels, had dropped dramatically. At the 6-month mark, Robert told me his hands looked like hands again, not like something from a medical textbook. His hair shedding had slowed significantly, and most importantly, he had canceled the consultation for hip surgery. Now let me explain the biology because this is where sardines separate themselves from everything else on this list. Sardines contain 4 distinct collagen-activating mechanisms working simultaneously, and that is what makes them categorically different from any other food or supplement. The first mechanism is their extraordinarily high content of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These are not just heart-healthy fats. Research from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden demonstrated that EPA and DHA directly suppress the activity of enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases, often abbreviated as MMPPs. MMPs are the molecular scissors that your body uses to break down collagen as part of normal tissue remodeling. In younger bodies, this process is balanced. New collagen is built at roughly the same rate as old collagen is broken down. But after the age of 65, and especially after 75, MMP activity increases significantly while collagen synthesis decreases, creating a net loss of collagen across every tissue in your body. EPA and DHA from sardines essentially slow those scissors down, reducing collagen breakdown by up to 38%, according to that Karolinska study. You are not just building new collagen, you are protecting the collagen you have. The second mechanism is the extraordinary amino acid profile of sardine flesh. Sardines contain glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline in ratios that closely mirror the actual composition of human collagen. This is not coincidental. These are the three amino acids that compose approximately 57% of the collagen molecule's total amino acid content. Your body is extremely efficient at directing these specific amino acids toward collagen synthesis rather than burning them for general energy, which is what happens with less targeted protein sources. A 2022 study from the National Institute on Aging found that older adults with the highest dietary intake of these specific three amino acids from whole food sources had a 52% lower rate of age-related skin thinning compared to those with the lowest intake. The third mechanism is one that most physicians do not discuss, and it relates directly to mitochondrial health. The mitochondria, which are the tiny power generators inside each of your cells, are responsible for producing the cellular energy that drives collagen synthesis. After the age of 70, mitochondrial function declines by approximately 40% in skin fibroblast cells, which are the cells responsible for producing skin collagen. Sardines contain a remarkable concentration of coenzyme Q10, a compound essential for mitochondrial electron transport, which is the process by which your cells generate usable energy. By restoring CoQ10 levels, sardines are essentially re-energizing the factory workers responsible for building your collagen. Research from the University of Gothenburg showed that supplementing with food-based CoQ10 sources as opposed to isolated CoQ10 supplements resulted in 31% greater mitochondrial efficiency in adults over 70. The fourth mechanism is specific to the bones you eat when you consume canned sardines with their soft edible skeletons. Those bones are among the richest food sources of a specific form of calcium hydroxyapatite combined with collagen type 1, which is the same collagen found in human bone and skin. When you consume these soft sardine bones, your digestive system breaks them down into mineral collagen complexes that research suggests are recognized and prioritized by your bone and cartilage tissue in a way that isolated calcium supplements simply are not. Think of it like this. An isolated calcium supplement is like handing a construction crew a pile of concrete mix. A sardine bone is like handing them a finished section of wall that they can integrate immediately. A study published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research in 2020 found that adults over 65 who consume small fish with edible bones 3 or more times per week had 29% lower rates of age-related bone density loss compared to those who rely primarily on dairy and supplements for calcium. Now, practical guidance. Choose wild-caught sardines, not farmed. Wild sardines have significantly higher omega-3 concentrations because they feed on cold water plankton. Look for sardines packed in olive oil or water, not soybean oil. One standard can, approximately 3.750 consumed 5 days per week, delivers a therapeutic dose of all 4 of the mechanisms we just discussed. If the taste is new to you, start by mashing them onto whole grain crackers with a squeeze of lemon and a small amount of Dijon mustard. The flavor mellows considerably when paired this way, and many of my patients who initially resisted the idea have come to genuinely enjoy them. The synergy tip for sardines is to consume them alongside a handful of dark leafy greens, specifically arugula, spinach, or kale. These greens are rich in sulforaphane, a compound that activates a cellular pathway called NRF2, which upregulates your body's endogenous antioxidant production. Free radical damage is one of the primary forces that accelerates collagen degradation in aging skin and joints. By pairing sardines with sulforaphane-rich greens, you are simultaneously building new collagen through the sardine's amino acids, protecting existing collagen from MMP degradation through the omega-3s, and shielding all of that collagen from free radical damage through the sulforaphane activation of your own antioxidant systems. That triple action is something no supplement on the market can replicate. Because supplements work on single pathways, whole food combinations work on multiple cascading systems simultaneously. All scientific references cited in this video, including the specific studies from the Karolinska Institute, TUS University, the National Institute on Aging, and the University of Toronto, are linked in the description below for those of you who want to read the primary research for yourselves. I want to close by speaking to you directly, not as a doctor, but as someone who genuinely understands what is at stake in this stage of life. The physical changes that come with aging are real and they are significant. But there is something that the mainstream medical conversation around aging gets fundamentally wrong, and that is the assumption that decline is inevitable and irreversible. Your body, even at 75, even at 80, retains a remarkable capacity for regeneration when you give it the right signals. The foods I have shared with you today, egg whites for their collagen-building amino acid profile, properly prepared bone broth for its glycosaminoglycans and complete mineral matrix, and wild-caught sardines for their simultaneous four-pathway action. These are not miracle cures. They are tools, powerful evidence-based, accessible tools that work with the biology you already have rather than trying to replace it. The reason I am so passionate about this is that I have watched patients like Margaret and Robert reclaim their independence, their confidence, and their joy in movement. I have watched people who had resigned themselves to joint replacements and mobility aids rediscover what it feels like to walk without wincing. I have watched men and women in their late 70s look in the mirror and see something that surprises them in the best possible way. It is never too late. Your collagen synthesis pathways are still there. Your skin fibroblasts are still working. Your cartilage still has the capacity for protection and partial repair. You simply need to give your body the right raw materials and the right signals, and it will do the rest. Quality of life at this stage of your journey is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Being able to pick up your grandchildren, to take walks without pain, to feel comfortable and confident in your own skin. These things matter profoundly, and they are not beyond your reach. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not already. Every week, I bring you this kind of evidence-based practical information designed specifically for those of us navigating the extraordinary challenge and opportunity of aging with intention. And before you go, I want you to leave a comment answering this question. After watching this video, which of these 3 foods are you most excited to add to your routine? And which one surprised you the most? Tell me below. I am reading every reply and I look forward to hearing from.